I'm going to be completely honest with you. I do not see the vision here. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. Another fun fact, I have 15 minutes to explain to you my thoughts on the reveal that Chaos King Arthur isn't actually Chaos King Arthur. He's just Arthur, missing an arm, and older, and basically powerless, and worthless, and hiding with Merlin. Oh, we have thoughts. Let me start this 15-minute timer right now. Let's hop right into it. So, first things first. Before I actually get into the real itself, let me tell you something very important to my opinion on this reveal and why I think it's so bad for the character. It's the fact that I don't even really like the character. If you ask me about my opinion on Arthur in the original series, I think he's kind of boring. Don't get me wrong, I get it. Seven Deadly Sins and Four Knights of the Apocalypse, the duology, are based on Arthurian legend. What is the legend? Arthurian. Naturally, Arthur is going to be very, very important to the context, nature, narrative of the story. I'm not saying that's wrong or bad or nonsensical. In fact, I'm saying that actually makes the most sense out of any choice that Nakama could do. So giving Arthur a whole lot of time, even ending the series with Arthur, logistically, not the worst decision out there, right? But I think my main issue with Arthur is that he's boring, right? Like, I look at original series Arthur, and like, he's a real cool guy. He's a real nice cat. He has one really cool fight in this fight right here, which he barely does anything. But like, he's a cool guy. He has some aura. He has a really good design, I will admit. Like, Arthur does just have one of the best designs in the series, especially for our human cast. But like, personality-wise, character-wise, dynamic-wise, I don't feel like Arthur really has anything. And that is crazy for me to say in a duology like the Seven Deadly Sins Four Knights duology, where I'd say the most standout thing about it isn't even the character design, isn't even the combat, isn't even anything. It's the character interactions and character dynamics and character writing. So if you hear me say Arthur's kind of boring, that's pretty bad. But I know that is a controversial opinion, right? Like, that's a me pencil kind of thought. Many other people, including other fans of Seven Deadly Sins and Four Knights that I talk to, whenever I tell them that, they're like, "You're tweaking, brother." But I do ask you, man, what is Arthur's character other than that he's the nicest, goodest boy ever who wants to make the perfect place ever for everyone ever? That's it. He's a victim of Merlin because like he was essentially forced down the path that he wanted to, was made to become the King of Chaos, and hijacked the end of the series. And ultimately, in many ways, hijacked the end of the series to the series' detriment. Am I saying the Demon King was the best final antagonist out there? No. But at least the Demon King had connections to our main characters. Who is Kath? Who is Arthur? To Meliodas, outside of a guy he met like once. Who is anything? Like who, remember, Meliodas and Elizabeth are the main characters of Seven Deadly Sins. The Demon King, while he's boring, at least had dynamic relative to both of those, as he's literally the foundation for their entire life in the context of the entire series up to that point. And while the Chaos stuff does work to back tie and explain, like, Chaos's tie to the original main antagonist in the Demon King, it doesn't do enough to connect Arthur, or Kath, or Cass, or anything to our actual main characters. And sure, it does bring connection to Merlin, but ultimately, I unironically think the Chaos stuff makes Merlin a worse character. A more controversial character, which has its ups and downsides, but still, like, generally just a worse and weirder character, considering the nature of her Chaos motivations. So, that's the clear thing I want to lay down. And let me tell you why. This had me have hope for the original Arthur. The Arthur that had appeared in Leonis, and even before that, all the way back his reintroduction in Four Knights. Arthur being evil was a choice that I was actually really interested in. It's not the first time this has been done. King Arthur has been evil in a couple different adaptations. The main one that comes to mind for me, I know this gonna sound really, really stupid, Sonic and the Black Knight. Like, that was like a Phantom Arthur anyway, but, and like, Sonic was supposed to be the real King Arthur in that story's context for some reason. But regardless, that was a case where Arthur was evil, and there are other adaptations where Arthur is evil, because Arthurian legend has been adapted a million times over. It's a very well-known story. There are many different interpretations, stuff like that. Sometimes Lance is portrayed as the good guy, sometimes it's Percy, sometimes it's Gawain. Arthurian legend is fun, because you can basically do whatever you want with it. You have the base foundation of characters, you have some base ideas like Excalibur, the Lady of the Lake, and all that, but you can do whatever you want with it. And I was very interested to see Nakama do whatever he wants with it when making Arthur this. Mainly because it finally gave me some interest to the character, right? Okay, Arthur isn't just the nicest goody two-shoes guy, ever goody two-shoes who wants to do everything nice for everybody, make a perfect plan for everybody with no character flaws at all. And he's not just a tool or victim for Merlin to express her weird fascinations on. He's actually a character now. Fantastic, juicy, scrumdiddlyumptious. And that's why I was so excited. Ultimately, Chaos King Arthur was definitely going to need work, but he was our main antagonist. Meaning, he had all the time in the world to work. I think ultimately making Arthur a main antagonist from Mount Start was actually even better than how the Demon King was utilized, because since we knew Arthur was a main antagonist from Round Start, all the way back from Gretchen of Edinburgh, we knew Arthur was the main antagonist. We got to build up this presence with them, this dynamic with them. We had to literally sit and stew in the fact that Arthur had changed. And with the context of the original series, it added extra layers, extra intrigue, extra conflict. And that conflict is even so well exemplified when he shows up in Leonis, when he has this dynamic with Meliodas, where ultimately they had this interesting, weird relationship where Meliodas wants to save Arthur, but Arthur doesn't really want to be saved by Meliodas. Like, it's complex, it's unique, it's dynamic. It actually sets up character dynamics with other major characters in the duology. You mean to tell me Arthur has an interesting relationship with Lance because of what Arthur did for and to Jericho? Fantastic. You mean to tell me that Arthur has an interesting relationship with Percival, our main character, because of the whole context he has with, you know, Percival's grandfather getting gut because of being a knight of prophecy, which only has to do with Chaos King Arthur? That's fantastic. Gawain is Arthur's knee. Like once again, we're building all these dynamics. The only character who didn't really have a dynamic with Arthur, at least not initially, was Tristan. But even then, Tristan goes on to get a dynamic with Arthur in this initial encounter before Lance comes and takes it over. So like, we were actually doing really, really good in terms of like giving Arthur everything he kind of needed. Arthur in the original series is kind of like a character who's there, like interacts, but like with his own little sphere of things, it doesn't really do much. He's like kind of a water character for the most part. And then he's the strongest character in the verse by the end. Like, that's kind of it. He wasn't really that interesting of a character to me. But Four Knights was going out of its way to make Arthur more interesting. Give him character dynamics. Give him more bonds. Give him everything to actually make him an interesting character. And in my opinion, Arthur, up until this point, was the best antagonist that Seven Deadly Sins had produced, which is hilarious because the guy only got washed. It didn't actually do too much on panel because he was kind of a bum, but it still worked out. Everything was juicy, everything was delicious, and even with him getting curb stopped by Lancelot, even with all the context he had, even with the lack of everything, Arthur going down a dark path, Arthur being evil, being devious, being diabolical, having a shift in motivations, whether that be influenced by Cath, influenced by chaos, one way or another, it was cool. I liked it. It was great. And then chapter 216 came out. Now, there are other things to talk about in chapter 216. It is a loaded chapter, which I really don't like. But, that aside, the main reveal at the end of it, the one that I'm assuming Nakaba was expecting us to click our heels for, and I saw some people click heels for, but personally, I didn't, and I don't like it. The reveal that Arthur isn't the King of Chaos. He's a withered old husk of a man who's done nothing wrong ever, will do nothing wrong ever, and it's actually the great glorious king that they're going to serve, that the Four Knights are going to serve, because he's actually the greatest, coolest, goodest guy ever, and he only has dynamics with Merlin, still, because he never actually interacts with anybody else. You know who does have all that character work? You know who does have all that dynamics? You know who does have all that interesting stuff? Cath. Yeah, Cath. We love Cath, right? Cath is such a super popular character. I'm so glad that Cath, of all characters, is the one who gets all this bonus characterization and this weird character dynamic / conflict with himself from the original series, because Cath in the original series and Cath in the main manga are like two completely different characters. And by the original series, and by main manga, I mean like Cath in Four Knights is completely different from Cath in original Seven Deadly Sins. Like they are two fundamentally different characters. Like this guy and where is he? This guy, not the same. From their design to their motivations to how they're not the same character. And that's okay. That's good for Cath. You know who it isn't good for? It's not good for Arthur. Arthur's boring again because he's done nothing. He's done nothing but be stupid, give up chaos, and nearly die. Like legit. He, as Cath himself points out, he was a stupid head for absorbing Cath wholesale and not just draining the chaos out of him and then kicking him out. He was dumb. And then his whole kingdom and all of his people got taken over. And now he's spread endless suffering throughout, all in Arthur's name, wearing his face. Becoming a more interesting character than Arthur solely by the proxy of him cosplaying Arthur. Where does this leave Arthur, the character, specifically? Nowhere. He's just a random bum. Apparently he still does have some chaos power, but clearly he can't do anything with it. He's been comatose for 2 years. It's implied that he's been comatose for a while. Look at how much strength he's lost. Look at how slim he is. Probably hasn't even lifted Excalibur in forever. He's a bum. And I think that's my main issue, right? Even though I can see a vision on making Cath the main antagonist, again, even though I'm not playing cool with that, I would prefer it was Arthur. I can see a vision on that. There's like an interesting characterization path you can walk down. Though admittedly, my eyes have low-key been open, and I'm kind of sitting here being like, well, maybe this was like a last-minute decision. Because someone pointed out, well, doesn't it feel kind of weird? Certain scenes like just don't make sense for Kath. You could argue it's like the same thing we were arguing for in reverse, where instead of it being Kath influencing Arthur, it's Arthur influencing Kath massively. And you can definitely argue, we can huff copium and say that's the case with how Kath has been redesigned to have a more humanoid form and ultimately have the Arthur. Like, it's still fine, but we took a character who could have still been there, could have still been interesting, could have still been a part of the narrative. And we gave him all the character work. We gave him all the dynamics. We gave him all the interactions. We gave all our main characters a tie to him specifically, and not the guy they're supposedly going to serve. Right? Now, don't get me wrong. I don't know how long Four Knights is going to be. Like, whether it's going to be the same length as the original. I feel like it can't be at this point, considering we still are nowhere near actually having the Knights serve Arthur or seemingly reach their full potential. Like, I could easily see Four Knights being like a 400 plus chapter manga. So we still do have time for Arthur. Nakaba could still try and convince me, but now we're 217 chapters deep with a character who we still need to build dynamics with. No one knows Arthur. Meliodas barely knew Arthur. Like, realize, the Seven Deadly barely knew Arthur. That's why they fell for the bamboozle. Because no one actually knew the guy. Because he didn't have any dynamics. He didn't interact with anybody. Other than Merlin. He's just been a Merlin tool. He's been a plot device of a plot device to set up the foundation for this narrative. Except he's not even been a part of this narrative. Do you see my issue with that? We've reset for something that is, while interesting in its own right, like I said in a previous video, I can kind of see the vision on Chaos King Kath, Carther, if you will. I'm not gonna, this is definitely a case of, I'm not a writer, take me and my opinions with a massive bag of salt, but I think this is the less interesting route. It is the less, you could have had the best of both worlds. You could have had Kath still been an active part of the narrative. You could have had Kath still be influencing Arthur. You could still have Kath influencing Arthur. You could still have all that, and you could just make Arthur evil. You would have just had to do the character work. You would have had to go, Nakaba would have had to gone out of his way to make Arthur becoming evil make more sense. Even though, with Arthur being evil already being pretty well set up through the influence of Chaos, and also just his own mixed opinions and emotions on the Demon Clan after his interaction with them, and just the other races based on the Holy War and the loss of his entire kingdom. Like, we had done this. We had built the character work in original, like, the little character work Arthur gets in original Seven Deadly Sins is to actually set up the foundation for him possibly not actually being cool with the other races. And this could have just been extrapolated on and exaggerated on by Kath and Chaos. We had already done the character work for Arthur to make him more interesting and more complex of a character, so reducing him back down to goody two shoes perfect man, victim man, I'm sorry, like, I'm not cool with this. I'm not cool with this. And my other concern is, or I guess it's not really concern, my worry is that we aren't going to get much out of this, right? Like, there's not, the dynamics that Arthur is going to build are still all going to be positive. He's not going to have to take any responsibility for any of the Kath stuff. It's all going to be Kath, right? It's all going to be foisted on Kath. Oh, yeah, sure, Arthur's stupid and he ate him, but, he was a victim, man. He was trying to do the right thing, get the Chaos powers back, so, he had to do it. And then that's it. Sure, he will probably have an interesting character dynamic with Lance, if he ever meets him, at this rate. With Gawain, if he ever meets her, at this rate. Tristan, if he ever meets her, at this rate. But note how all the interesting character work that was done for Arthur is now completely disconnected from him. It's gone. It's gone. What connection? Like, this is my big thing. The reason I don't like it as much, because it's such a hard reset. What is this Arthur, the real human King Arthur's connection to Percival? To Lance? To Tristan? Heck, to Gawain? It's none. It's zero, zilch, nada. And of course, he still does have connections to his old knights, thanks to what we know of how they knew Arthur beforehand. It's like, clearly, there still was some time where they knew Arthur, but all the interesting character work that isn't just, oh, King Arthur's the coolest, nicest guy ever, we all love and support him and glaze him, all of that is just the characterization dynamics he has with them. The interesting, complex dynamics of the power of chaos and how that influences them and how it made them give up everything and how ultimately they did it for the sake of the kingdom and for the sake of the things that they loved, except they had to sacrifice the things they loved, that all came from Kath. Just all the interesting character writing and character work, gone. Wiped away for a character who can work in Kath, but would have worked better as Arthur. And I think this is the thing, right? the more complex the character is, the better that they are. It's why, as much as I don't like Merlin, because I think she is most certainly a plot device character, I cannot sit here and lie to you and say that Merlin's a basic character. She's very, very complex in her relationships and her dynamics, how certain characters feel about her, how certain characters don't feel about her. Like, there still is a whole lot around Merlin, even if I really don't like the character interactions. I cannot sit here and say that Merlin is like a flat or boring or simple character in the same way I can say Arthur is. And I think that's my big issue. That's why I'm really concerned. And while I hope Knockabook hooks, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not really seeing the vision on this one. But of course, that is what I think. Please tell me what you guys think in the comment section down below. I want to, oh, all right. I'm just out of time. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it all the way to this video, please do me a favor and leave not my king. Literally, not my king in the comment section down below. I want to thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure that little notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, you're going to have a Patreon below. You support me for as low as $1 a month. You things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member to the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks include the live reactions, share the series I am to review, ad variations of all my videos, early ad-free access to all my videos, and not just all the videos over here, but all the videos on the second channel, that guy with a reaction. You get early access to all those videos as well. And on top of that, any other channels that may or may not be in the oven right now, you get early access ad-free to all of those videos as well, so do not sleep. And on top of that, you get your name listed at the end of literally every single video I produce on this channel, on the second channel, on any other channels that get produced. And if you are a $3 member or higher, you get your name listed and read aloud at the end of every single video, not just listed. And on top of that, if you ever want to join me on Fridays for some live chats, some good fun times and discussions and gaming and all that in between, that guy with the controller is linked in the description down below. That's my Twitch channel. I'm live there every Friday at 8 p.m. EST, or to the best of my ability. Sometimes you might run late occasionally, and sometimes I may have to go on break. But regardless, you can check that out if you ever want to chat with me live about chapters or discussions or anything like that. And on top of that, if you want to drop 5 minutes for a short video, 25 minutes a long video, any support at all, because any support is always greatly appreciated. The link to my Ko-Fi is in the description down below. But now I want to thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is that guy with the pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our sketch tier members: Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Glacier XZ, Zera, Brandon Payne, J2MA, Guillaume, Pura Ura, Enzo, Swift Strike, Super Flame Zero, Yuki Ally, Striker Man, Grim, Ollie, The Boy, Corey Watson, Damon Brown, Magic, CCC, Romano Furen, Dino, Heath Nelson, Hector Gonzalez, Black Sage, Tim Thomas, Kaving, Julian Perez, Akolade Babatunde, Union I, RXN, Nevis97, Logan Guzman, Dead Meme, Karudir, Christian Carter, Jagoda, Keon Stewart, Donovan McIntosh, Sino King, Hamza Idrisi, BNA DNA, Edwin Igmignoba, Cyan, Straw, Cybersage 12, Athen Shear, Antavius Mitchell, Plant Crone, Azo2404, Create Panem, Zapro, Weary Exile, Karina Hernandez, Sheesh King, Window Life, Alex Kenny, Victor Jacobs, Todd, and Dre. Then, let me thank you to Art Art tier patrons: A+A, Kevin Encarnacion, Sean, Dreadzoen, Midnight Lord 21, Wind Draco, Alyssa Bujanos, and CJ. Then I'd even thank you to our Ink tier members: King RTX and Shrimpo the 4th Shrimp 06. Then I'd even thank you to our digital art tier members: J Warrior and AZ Void. Then I'd even thank you to our colored art tier patrons: Walkie Munoz and Walkie Munoz.